You're probably wondering why I've asked you here today.
Yeah, totally.
Well, it seems you haven't been cutting it lately. And we just don't really need you anymore.
What? But we have incredible chemistry.
And our ratings are through the roof.
I'm sorry, it's not you. But you're fired.
No! So yeah, this is going to be our last one, but we had a good run. We've got a fantastic send-off prepared for you today.
Today we have some funny videos from the homes of all of us at Quaker Avenue Youth Group. Let's see what everyone shared today.
Make me a product. Make me your one and only. But don't make me your enemy. Your enemy, your enemy.
We're permanent killer. Also, using the same reason octapodium, using rhodium, chlorine, carbon, gold, tungsten, tin, and sodium.
Okay, now truth time. How many of those did you make up?
You knew.
Hey guys, this is not funny. Oops. But that is funny. Grant sitting in the back seat.
Me having to scoot up 2 feet.
All in, all in.
It's
2,000 in the middle.
I was in the O. Said it one time. Oh yeah. I was in the O. Said it one time. Oh yeah.
Woo, wow, that's a big finish.
Kid Rock.
That was a big finish.
Glad we saw those funny moments caught on film.
Ha
Now we have a prayer and a devotional.
Dear God, thank you for this day, and I pray that you will be with us as we go into our devotional. I pray that you will open our ears and our hearts and our minds to understand what you need to tell us. And I pray that you will keep everyone safe, and we pray these things in your name. Amen.
Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. I hope that even though we can't really be doing the fun summer activities we'd usually be doing around this time, we're still all enjoying the start of our summer vacations. Reading certain portions of the Bible for the first time have made me realize the sheer abundance of passages that we have that point to the idea of us living very much like Jesus did. When he came down to earth, he lived in a way that was unique. It turned heads and was something that we had never seen before. I found 3 passages here in Proverbs that point to the idea of us living in a very similar way. In chapter 29, verse 20, it says, "Do you see someone who speaks in haste? There's more hope for a fool than them." I think this is to say that we should live our lives thoughtfully, even slowly at times. Make the Lord the foundation of our decisions and our living, and be careful when dealing with our initial judgments in life. In our world today, we often rush throughout our routines every day to day, but I think this passage would have us slow down and consider the Lord in our livings more often. Just 2 chapters before, in chapter 27, verse 12, it says, "The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty." This humility in realizing our own inability to deal with sin is often the exact opposite of the action we take. We rationalize our sin to make ourselves feel better, almost to the point of saying that we don't even need forgiveness. But that's obviously not true. I especially deal with this every once in a while. The words here tell us the honesty we should have with ourselves, instead of this dishonesty in lying to ourselves about our sin. Being humble enough to realize that we need forgiveness from the Lord, and we can't make it on our own. Finally, the third verse I'd like to touch on is in chapter 24, verse 21. And it says, "Fear the Lord and the King, my son, and do not join with rebellious officials." Here we're told to submit ourselves to the Lord's will, serving him any way we can. The world tells us to make our own way, in contrast to this idea, and to live for ourselves rather than for him. The idea of being a servant to anyone is detestable, and we struggle to get past our own desires to work for what is truly good. Proverbs tells us instead to be a willing servant to God, never resisting his desires for our lives. There are so many other examples you could pull from, but they all point to this. We are called to be different, to live different than those around us, to live our lives not by the ideals of people, but of the Lord. Align ourselves not with the material, but with the eternal. I hope that we can all work towards that goal together. I miss you all, and I can't wait to see you all again. I'll see you soon. Well, this somewhat confusing time has brought a great many lessons to be learned.
It's like Jason said at the beginning of this whole thing. An experience is only wasted if we don't learn anything from it. So we've decided to share a few of the things that we've learned from quarantine that we hope to take on to our lives as we re-enter society. First of all, it's clear that the things that have stood during this time when we're apart are the things that are truly strong and truly good. Things like community and family haven't broken because we can't be physically around each other anymore. Things like Zoom calls and these videos have kept us connected even though we can't be with each other physically.
Another example might be that change can come at any time. So be flexible and be ready for those harder times so that you can endure on through.
And the final thing is that God gives us opportunities to serve no matter what our world may look like. So no matter what a particular circumstance looks like for you, there's probably some way that you can serve in that time.
Well, thank you for taking this journey with us. It's been a lot of fun to make these videos, but I hope they've benefited you in some way. And for the last time, we'll see you next time. You're supposed to say it with me.
Oh my goodness! Okay, we'll start.
Bloopers, we'll see you next time.
Dad?
We're going to video.
You're videoing right now?
Yes. I mean, it doesn't matter.
What have you learned through all this?
I'll say. Well,
basketball from the
no, I'm not
You
gonna
are
say
great.
that. What are you talking about? We have incredible chemistry.
Ryan, too early.
No, I was
She's
saying
talking
I don't
about.
need it anymore.
That's what she's talking about.
Fine.